Hello, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I never thought I would hear myself saying that, but here I am. Yeah, hopefully this channel will serve as a little design resource for other aspiring graphic designers like myself, as well as a little journal to keep track of cool things that I've made, and yeah, hopefully you find that kind of stuff interesting. Otherwise, you should probably get out of here. Anyway, yeah, my first video was intended to be a little documentation of me designing a logo mark for a little hypothetical company. So with that in mind, I hit the brief generators on the internet and received this brief in particular. Basically, I was briefed to create a logo for a company called Rushmore, who sell glasses. They're a corner store, and they pride themselves on their price and their authenticity. So that was kind of the gist of it. I began laying down a couple little bullet points that would help me throughout the process just keep my eye on the prize. They mentioned they wanted an emblem, they wanted it to be green, and hopefully embroidered on their uniforms. So I think that was more than enough info for me to get going. I had a pretty good idea of which direction I wanted to take it in. So I grabbed a bunch of references. Most of them were emblems. A couple of the other ones were just miscellaneous references, like a screen grab from the movie Rushmore, the main character wearing a neat pair of glasses. Yeah, and then once I had those references, I just started kind of banging out some font options. I settled on Futura Bold, all caps, which was actually the first option I put down. Yeah, not the most adventurous decision, but pretty timeless typeface, and I think my thinking was that it would give it a nice authentic vibe, which I think it did. Yeah, so I began lurching down the rabbit hole of trying to design a spectacle store logo. One of the first things I kind of did was illustrate a little line drawing of a pair of glasses or spectacles. Looked quite cool, gave it a bit of a retro vibe. Yeah, I also landed up writing the slogan "Collectible Spectacles," which I just thought was absolutely classic and hilarious, if I do say so myself. Every single design I made had that slogan in. I was pretty stoked about that. Maybe I should go into copywriting and not graphic design. So keep an eye out for my copywriting YouTube channel. Back to the design. A lot of the time I spent just experimenting with different holders. I wanted it to be obviously an emblem because they requested that, but not cliche if that's possible. So I was messing around with a couple pill-shaped holding shapes and a couple weird ones later on. Authenticity was part of the brief, so I guess it ties into that. Yeah, here you can see me having a crack at a corner store idea, which I binned very quickly, thankfully, because it just was not working. This was another cool idea, which was to kind of illustrate very basically the bricks of a corner store. I really liked the way this looked, and I think it would make a great logo or artwork on its own. But because being a corner store wasn't the main thing that they wanted to punt, I didn't think it was worth incorporating. On its own it would have been good, but it was landing up making the other logos quite busy if I tried to add it in as a little secondary element. Yeah, another little element that I tried experimenting with was a price tag, because the brief mentioned that they focus on affordability. Affordability is quite a difficult thing to communicate in a design because you don't want to make the brand feel cheap. So there's quite a fine line I feel like you have to walk. Hopefully I walked that line. You guys tell me, I don't know. I tried to keep it subtle, but it's difficult again. So yeah, there was a few attempts at a price tag, and then I was messing around with the idea of replacing the S in Rushmore with a $sign, which was actually a custom $sign because the Futura one is quite ugly. The little stems aren't fat enough. I then eventually thought it would be a cool idea to use the price tag shape as the emblem shape, if that makes sense. I think it's a nice little abstraction, and it just looked very retro and hardy and I don't know, kind of trade-like, if that makes sense, which is what this business is about. They're a trading store, so that was cool. I did some nice vertical layout with the Futura, and then I slapped a little line in between just to avoid confusion with the reading. Yeah, this was ultimately the design that I settled on. There were a couple interesting options. I would like to know what you guys think, if I chose the wrong one or if I missed the brief entirely. Yeah, it's all a big learning experience, so do tell. Yeah, I'll chuck it in a couple mock-ups for you to see. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next video, hopefully. Yeah, peace out.